Okay, we're back and delighted to have back in the studio with us today Treva Kuyper. She's one of the co-leaders of the Loft, which I think is one of the most powerful ministries to young girls that's ever come around. And she's going to give us a little bit of an update. But first, tell us about the Loft in general. The age group is?
8th to 12th grade. The Loft is a ministry to teen girls, 8th grade through 12th grade. And we meet during the school year, September through June. And we meet the second Sunday night of every month at Community Bible Church in Central Point.
That's it in a nutshell. But the snow and ice blocked you out in December, right?
It did. I was here. Yeah. I was here in December, and 2 days later, we were supposed to do the Loft, and the ice, knocked us out. We had to cancel to keep our girls safe.
Okay, well, that's good. All right, and that subject was?
Mean Girls.
Okay.
Bullying, toxic relationships, and we are going to do Mean Girls, but we'll probably have to make it up in February or March, and we'll let you know.
All right, but coming up this Sunday is an interesting one, which probably impacts more than we care to admit. You're going to call it the Brady Bunch, but it's divorce and blended families.
Yes, yes. And we call it the Brady Bunch because they were a blended family, and they were able to poke fun at the different things that go on in a blended family. But divorce and blended families, it's a huge, huge issue in our world, in our culture, and for our girls, for our teens. They suffer through with their parents when the split up happens.
Right. Right. All right. So talk to us about that. There's some incredible percentages. You know, even in Christian marriages, we're seeing, what, 50%?
Yes. About, 50%. Half of all marriages fail. And the interesting thing is, and what we tell the girls is, if they are going through a divorce with their parents, your parents never signed up for this when they got married. Yeah. There's no bride and groom that gets married and goes on their wedding day, says those vows, and then thinks that they're going to end up in a divorce. Right. Nobody does that. They have all intentions to be in love and stay in love for life. And so, but in this world that is sinful, and in this world that has, it's fallen. And so there's a lot of issues and problems that come about. And we want to, this Sunday, not so much dwell on the divorce as the girls are going through, but your parents have split up, or you are part of a blended family, or your parents have been divorced. What do you do with that now? That's what we want to focus on. How do you live your life now in light of all of that?
You know, I've done enough counseling, and I get frustrated with it. I'm not a professional counselor, but so don't call me. But working with Patrick and everything else, there is this myth that all kids are resilient to get through it, and they don't.
They don't, and that myth makes me sad. Yeah. As I'm a child of 5 divorces.
Wow.
So my parents divorced when I was 3 originally. There was adultery and affairs, and they remarried several times, and there were divorces all the way up until I was 26. So I know the child version of that, and we're not resilient as children. And not only that, is we take all of that hurt and all of that confusion and we bring it into our adult life, and it affects the decisions that we make. It affects the relationships that we choose to be in, and it can affect our marriage.
How do you, there's 2 things that come out of this. How do you get a young girl to realize that she's not the cause of the divorce, she doesn't have to carry it, and number 2, that life isn't disposable. It's just not a throwaway life. When you don't like something, you throw it out the door.
Right. Well, as far as her not being the cause of the divorce, we really try to focus for the girls at the Loft, just that they are loved by their Creator God. That God the Father loves them, that He loves their parents, that their parents are human, and that the things that come up, you know, there's a million different reasons why people get a divorce, but their parents, that's their stuff. That's their stuff to go through, and it's not because of the child personally. We would tell the girls that your parents love you and adore you, and it hurts them that this is hurting you. But it's not their fault. And that's one of the first things I say at the Loft to them. I want to tell you that I'm so sorry that you've had to walk through these things, but I want you to know that we love your parents and we love you, and it's not your fault. Because they need to know that. Otherwise, they carry that baggage and that guilt. It sets in. Sometimes they'll hear their parents arguing about parenting, and they automatically think it's something they've done or it's their fault. But maybe their parents are disagreeing on how to parent, and it's really not specific to that child as in parenting in general or how they're going to get through a certain situation. But as teenagers and in that immaturity and in that crazy world, they soak all that up like a sponge, and it affects them.
Let's talk about blended families. Sometimes, you know, these kids are forced into this new arrangement and new siblings that they weren't raised with. How difficult is that?
It's really difficult. A lot of times with the blended family, so you have a divorce, so now the child is trying to work through, okay, I'm not going to have my parents together anymore. So they're trying to work through that, separate households, all that kind of a thing. And now you have the blended family. Now you have a new stepmom or stepdad. You have stepsisters and brothers or half brothers and sisters. And now you're trying to see where you fit. And so
the pecking order changed. Huh?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I think what I've seen a lot in our teenagers, what I see a ton of times, is they don't feel as valued anymore by mom and dad. Someone else has stepped in, and now they have to share that love and that time and that value. So they start to feel more and more insecure, which leads to all kinds of destructive behavior. Sometimes, you know, in that rebellion or that trying to find their security, they'll make bad choices at school or with their friends or boyfriends.
Wow. Do parents get involved in do you actually get the parents involved in this? Can you, or is that your goal? Or?
Well, one of the reasons why I love chatting with you on theDove is because I know our parents are listening. And they're listening, and I want to help them. That's also our heart. We are advocates for these teen girls. We believe that the parents need partnership, so we partner alongside. What's exciting is up till now, we haven't directly worked alongside the parents. We go through their girls. But we are going to have in February, probably towards the end of February, and I'll let you know when that comes, we're going to have a parent night at the Loft.
Whoa.
And I'm so excited for this because we're going to bring up the 4 or 5 topics that we will have done so far. We'll have a couple of speakers. We'll have insight. We'll have information. We want to help the parents understand their teen girls and understand how to love them and how to give them value and worth, and kind of like what we do for the girls, giving them hope and encouragement. We want to do that for the parents as well, and that'll be coming up in February.
I had a couple other little housekeeping things. If you're listening and you have a teenage girl and you want her to attend, they can just come, right?
They can just show up. It's 5:30 this Sunday night at Community Bible Church in Central Point.
Okay.
They can just show up and register. We have the Loft t-shirts that we sell for $6. So all the girls come in their Loft t-shirts, and I love that because it makes us all on the same level. You know, we don't have any of that, oh, she's wearing this and she's wearing that, da, da, da. We all have our Loft shirts on. We're the Loft family. That's what I love. It's just another family, and this ministry is great because there's 25 women that have walked these paths that love these girls that show up on Sunday as well.
Can a teenage girl live through a divorce in a victorious way?
Absolutely, and I am sitting here as one of them.
What happened to you? How'd that happen for you?
I love what God has done. I did rebel when I was 17. Again, there were affairs. Both my real dad, my stepdad, both had affairs and divorced and left my mom and my stepmom. So the summer before my senior year, I got the news that there was going to be 2 divorces. My life turned upside down, and in a nutshell, I got very angry with the Lord, very angry. And I said, you know what? I'm all done being good. I'm all done trying to figure out who you are, God. I'm going to go do my own thing. And when I left for college after my senior year, I did my own thing for about 3 years. I got pregnant, and I had an abortion at 19. By the time I was 21, I was a wreck. God grabbed hold of my heart again, and that time I surrendered for good at 21. I met my husband. A little while after that, we were married, and next Tuesday we celebrate 19 years of marriage.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah. And we've never looked back, and I've never looked back, and I am the story of victory in this. Was there baggage and tears and all of that? Absolutely. My mom passed away a few years ago. My grandparents have passed away. My dad is somewhere out there and doesn't want a relationship with me. So over the years, you have to deal with those things. And for teen girls, what I'm going to tell them, and I want them to know, is just don't quit. Don't quit on God. I quit on God. I got angry, and it's okay to be angry when things happen, your family falls apart. It's okay to be angry for a time. But that anger turns into bitterness and then resentment and unforgiveness, and all that does is eat us up. So at some level, we have to let that go, and we need to just not quit on God.
2 quick stories, and I only got about 30 seconds. What was it that turned you back and what was it that you realized that God was there?
What turned me back is God showed me that He is my Abba Father. He is my daddy, and He is enough. What was the second question?
And how did you know that God really meant it? I mean, how that He was really with you?
Because 3 years of rebelling against Him and doing my own thing and kind of shunning Him, He kept calling me back through His people.
He didn't give up on you.
He never gave up on me. He's so faithful.
All right, Community Bible Church this coming Sunday evening, 5:30, the Loft. And if you have a teenage girl, get her there.
Yes.
All right, thank you, Treva.
Thank you.
Okay, best to you. All right, we'll see you next time on Focus Today.